Welcome to Yoga Santa Barbara Style. This program showcases Santa Barbara area yoga teachers by presenting a brief interview along with a 25-minute practice featuring the guest instructor. Today, our guest will be Natalie Sampola. Natalie is from Canada but has lived here for some time. She currently teaches at Source Yoga and the Santa Barbara Yoga Center. My name is Ray Colby, and I'm the host of Yoga Santa Barbara Style. I've been practicing yoga for a number of years, and I'm here to share my passion for yoga with you. We've got a great show for you today. In addition to our yoga sequence and interview, I will present the diaphragmatic breathing technique, and we'll break down the pose Tadasana. Sarah Remick will fill us in on the recent controversy regarding Bikram and his conflict with other yoga philosophies and teachers. And she'll give us some yummy food for thought, today highlighting sun tea. So let's get right to it. Here's Sarah with Yoga News.
Thank you, Ray. A few weeks ago, LA Weekly ran an article entitled "Bikram Choudhury Battles for Control of the Hot Yoga Tradition He Invented." I am so excited that this article came out because this is a topic I've been wanting to bring up for a while. Before I go any further, I would like to state that any opinions expressed herein are not that of the TV station nor this show. There's a Bikram studio here in Santa Barbara that is well loved, and the owner is a wonderful woman whom I respect very much. That being said, I hope to shed some light on the current controversy within the yoga community regarding Bikram yoga. The Bikram method of yoga is a series of 26 postures and 2 breathing sequences practiced for 90 minutes in a climate-controlled environment where the room is heated to 105 degrees. Despite the fact that yoga is a centuries-old tradition, Bikram Choudhury was able to copyright his particular version, the order of the poses, etc., under the same protections afforded choreographers. Now think about that for a minute. Ancient, traditional knowledge, postures of the body, being patented so that no one may teach or practice them without copyright infringement. Choudhury came from Calcutta to Los Angeles and began teaching his hot yoga in the 1970s. He published a book in 1978 preaching that his hot yoga sessions could heal all kinds of ailments, from knee injuries to arthritis. Hollywood ate up his hardcore yoga and his intentions of transforming lives. He's been a guest on many TV shows like The Tonight Show and 60 Minutes. He had 3 different presidents as clients: Nixon, Reagan, and Clinton, as well as George Harrison, Charlie Sheen, and Jennifer Aniston. The article in LA Weekly is ripe with quotes from Mr. Bikram, most of which I think speak for themselves in terms of how Choudhury views himself and his position in the yoga realm and the world. The article says that he boasted to a Boston audience this summer, "Lady Gaga listens to me. Her mantra is only one word, Bikram, because Bikram makes her what she is today. It works." Today, there are 600 studios worldwide, more than 330 studios in America, and 86 Bikram studios just in California. Despite his move to LA in the 70s, it wasn't until 1994 that he began training new teachers in his method of yoga. At that time, there were only 4 Bikram studios in the world, all of them in the US. Choudhury was still teaching teachers one-on-one, as was the traditional method in India, but he soon began teaching larger and larger numbers of people in a group, and eventually he had up to 400 people in one session. Today, those courses cost almost $11,000 per student. As he began to train more and more students, he decided to copyright his method. If anyone wanted to teach his style of hot yoga, that person had to sign a franchise agreement, with Choudhury receiving the required fees. Over the years, several former students have attempted to set up studios of their own, unaffiliated with Bikram, but still holding some similar ideas, like heating the room, for example. Choudhury successfully sued a few of them, but none of those situations were anything near as big, as lengthy, or as public as the current battle Choudhury has taken on with his former favorite student, Greg Gamuccio. But since 2006, Gamuccio has distanced himself from Bikram and opened his own chain of competing studios called Yoga to the People. During the time that Greg spent away from Bikram, he began a friendship with John McAfee, and he resonated with McAfee's Kriya Yoga and its focus on the spine. He also looked to Brian Kest, who holds donation power-based yoga classes in Santa Monica and really believes that yoga should be accessible to everyone. Gamuccio charges only $8 for a class and has 1 day a week with donation-based classes. Gamuccio's mission statement: there will be no right answers, no glorified teachers, no ego, no script, no pedestals, no "you're not good enough" or "rich enough." This is yoga for everyone. In September, Chowdhury sued Greg Gamuccio for copyright and trademark infringement, unfair business practices, and breach of contract. I love the analogy that LA Weekly gives to this feud between these two charismatic leaders. Much like a warring religious sects, they practice nearly the exact same form of yoga, but speak slightly different dialects. As it stands now, for the past 9 months, the validity of Chowdhury's copyright has been called into question many times over, most recently by the U.S. Copyright Office itself. Various yoga practices belong to the long tradition of Indian culture, but the specific arrangement of the poses can be organized in any way, and thus, according to the Copyright Office, can potentially be owned by an individual. This I don't personally really agree with, but anyway, as of June 22nd, the Copyright Office announced that if yoga postures did indeed improve health, they could not be copyrighted. They also added that any previous yoga copyrights were issued in error. So now it's not just a question of whether Gamuccio violated a copyright, but whether Chowdhury's copyright is even valid at all. However, the Federal Government Office of Copyright states that they have no plans to reevaluate the copyrights to yoga previously issued. So, in a not-so-surprising twist, government has said that they probably messed up, but they're probably not going to do anything about it. So, the two yogis with opposing beliefs will have to wait for a judge to determine their fate sometime next year. So what do you think of all this? Should ancient traditional knowledge be able to be patented? Should a man who claims to be a yogi of the yogic mind and practice so ardently go after another man who wants to share the same philosophies with the world? Is this feud about money? Is it about ego? Should these kind of arguments even be a part of something that many still consider sacred and far removed from money and celebrity status? These are all very interesting things to think about. I'm going to go ponder them on my mat, outside, where it's a breezy 75 degrees, and I can do the poses I choose in any order I choose them, the way I like to practice my yoga.
We all know that breathing is fundamental to life. But breathing is so much more than simply oxygenating our blood. There are many reasons to do breathwork. I'll share a few before moving on to the demonstration. By using specific breathing exercises, we can transition our nervous system from the stress-induced sympathetic to the restful, healing state of the parasympathetic nervous system. This has the effect of shedding stress. And in my demonstration, I'm going to show you how to shed the stress that our bodies hold. But that's not the only reason to perform breathing exercises. There's the calming influence on the mind, which is one of the primary reasons that breathing exercises were introduced into the yoga philosophy. And there's more. As an avid skier myself, I have found breathing exercises to improve my breathing ability while skiing by reducing the effect of the altitude, as well as transforming my mental and emotional attitude. Now that I've given you several reasons to do breathwork, it's time to describe and demonstrate a breathing exercise for you. This one is called diaphragmatic breathing. It may also be referred to as abdominal, belly, deep breathing, or three-part breathing. Three-part breathing refers to the 3 phases of the inhalation. In the first phase, you inhale into your belly as though there were a balloon in your belly, letting it expand to its fullest. Then allow the air to migrate up to the rib cage, expanding the intercostal muscles. Then finally, up to the upper chest and shoulders. Pause at the top, holding your breath briefly and easily. Then begin to exhale very slowly. Try to lengthen and slow down the exhalation. Then, as you reach the bottom of your breath, tighten your abs, force any remaining air out of your body, and pause briefly at the bottom of your breath. Then begin again. That's it. But remember, no stress or pressure associated with this activity. Allow it to slow down and bring calmness to your body, your mind, and your life. And now allow me to demonstrate briefly. Inhaling into the belly, rib cage, upper chest, pausing, and then exhale completely. And when you get to the bottom, tighten your abs, force any remaining air out, and pause. If you begin a regular practice of diaphragmatic breathing, then during the day, if you begin to feel stressed out, simply take in 3 deep diaphragmatic breaths. But when you exhale, let out an audible sigh, not concerned about the length of the exhale. And I'll demonstrate. Breathe in. And exhale. And I recommend doing this diaphragmatic breath work every day. I use it to wake up in the morning. Before I get out of bed, I do 25 diaphragmatic breaths. Choose the time that's right for you and give yourself 10 to 15 minutes a day to practice breathing techniques. It will improve your yoga and your life. In good health and well-being, namaste.